stop right there. Before you even think of leaving a negative comment, open your mind and don't be a sheeple. I know the movie is from Pixar and the show is from Nickelodeon, but the great thing about theories is that there is no right or wrong answers, just what does or doesn't work for you. Plus, creatives can work for many different companies in their careers, and you can't say with certainty that one didn't influence the other because when Coco released, a lot of people commented that Pixar basically modified the Book of Life. I don't quite agree with that, but I do see how those two films parallel each other, although I will say a lot of those similarities are based on the fact that both films are connected to Hispanic culture and folklore, not necessarily that one's ripping off the other. The same thing happens when people make theory videos. Sometimes two channels just end up developing similar ideas completely by chance. However, something that's bothered me for a long time is how strikingly similar Monsters Inc. is to Ahh Real Monsters. Okay, I assume you all know the plot of Monsters Inc., where various types of monsters scare children to harvest their screams. But for those of you too young to remember Ahh Real Monsters, it's a series about all different kinds of monsters going around scaring children. Wait a minute, that sounds like the same plot. Well, actually no, because in Ahh Real Monsters, they're all attending a monster school to learn new and effective scaring techniques. Hold on. Seriously, between Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, the only thing missing is that they powered their world via containers of screens. So did Pixar just copy and paste their concept from this half-forgotten Nicktoon? Well, I tried to reconcile this issue by finding writers, or animators, or producers, someone who worked on Monsters Inc. and Ahh Real Monsters, but for the life of me, I couldn't find any names that matched between the two. And even though Ahh Real Monsters ended in 1997, let's be real, that was around the time production for Monsters Inc. would have been happening. So there's no way Pixar didn't know about the Nickelodeon series. But I don't want to see Pixar as unoriginal ripoffs either. So the idea I'm going to offer you is that Monsters Inc. and Monsters University are homage films that sort of continue the story of Ahh Real Monsters. One of the biggest differences between the two franchises is that Ickis, Crumb, Oblina, and the entire monster world live in the sewers around New York City. They often eat garbage, use nail clippings as currency, and they freely interact with the human population without fear of being touched. But, as you might imagine, that leaves a lot of holes that the show never covers. At least it doesn't to the best of my memory. There are issues such as, why do the monsters bother to scare humans? Where do they live as adults since the sewer system is only so big? And what's gonna happen when someone finally figures out that they live down there? If we look at the Pixar films as unofficial sequels, we actually get all of those answers. First, let's establish that the sewer school houses a ton of monsters, which means there are at least double the adult monsters in the area. You know, 2 parents for each child, so the population in school would be roughly 1/3. That's a lot of monsters. And who's to say that they all live in this reality? Maybe some of them live in another plane of existence, a place like the monster world, perhaps? Also, who's to say that they aren't harvesting screams? I mean, we see in Monsters Inc. that a child independently screaming can surge the lights, and the scream collection process happens in the monster world, away from the child. So maybe when Oblina scares someone, there's a device somewhere else, in another dimension maybe, collecting the sound. It's not impossible, is it? Plus, there's no avoiding it. One day the Ahh Real Monsters sewer world will be uncovered and the monsters will be in danger. There's pretty much no way around it since the creatures have built structures in there, and eventually something will need serviced by humans. Once that day comes, humans will start capturing and containing the monsters, which will be fairly easy since they're all roughly child size. If they were all Sully sized, we might be running scared as humans, but all these monsters of varying sizes and shapes are all magically small enough to live in this sewer world. Seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Being that the monsters live for hundreds of years, it stands to reason that they have a contingency plan for being discovered, and I would assume that plan involves going back to the monster world. Now, I know I just said that they're all really small, and we know the Monsters Inc. characters can get bear-sized and larger, so it just doesn't fit, right? Well, maybe it does. Maybe the smaller monsters live in the human world because they can hide more conveniently. Or maybe monsters can adapt to their environment and the little ones will get bigger in a larger space, like a fish that grows based on the size of its tank. So if the Ahh Real Monsters were discovered and had to go back to where they came from for safety reasons, that would mean that the monster world would lose connection with the human world, and thereby, over time, the concept of humans and how dangerous they are gets distorted until we have 2319s and energy shortages because scarers have to be such highly trained professionals now. Yeah, it's not a perfect matchup, but I like how it forms one complete picture between the franchises. It might not be reality, but connection theories are more fun! Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have two other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.